Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Uncensored Critic podcast. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. It means the world to me. Thank you very, very much. And today we welcome along another fellow actor by the name of Olivia Vinall. Is that correct, Vinall?
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, God, I always do that. I need to check before I start this, but it's a common theme on this show. So Olivia Vinall. So, and anyone who's unfamiliar with Olivia's work, let's take a moment to introduce her right now. So, Olivia trained at drama studio after completing her undergrad at UAE, that's the University of East Anglia, and has been a part of some incredible work since her graduation. For film, she has appeared in Where Hands Touch, A Beautiful Curse, which won 3 awards at the Paris International Film Festival in 2022, and Leonora and In the Morning Light. And for TV, she's done extensive work for the BBC with Doctor Who, Midsomer Murders, The Woman in White, and Roadkill, and Queens of Mystery for Acorn. And for theatre, she has done so much stuff. So this is just a little condensed version of her work. For theatre, Romeo and Juliet at the Leicester Square Theatre, The Dark at the Top of the Stairs at the Belgrade Theatre, the Young Chekhov Trilogy at the Chichester Festival, directed by Jonathan Kent, which involved Platonov, Ivanov, and the Seagull, and the Circle at the Orange Tree Theatre and UK tour, and 3 appearances at the National Theatre, one being the 50th anniversary in 2013, King Lear as Cordelia, directed by Sam Mendes, and the fantastic Othello, where she appeared as Desdemona, directed by Nick Hytner, to Rory Kinnear's Iago and Adrian Leicester's Othello, and Jonathan Bailey's Cassio as well, some of you know from Bridgerton. But that's just a small sample of Olivia's work. So, Olivia, welcome.
Hey, thanks, Oliver. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for your time today. I really appreciate it. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I really, really love listening to your podcasts. And I just think I don't know, I find podcasts really like inspiring and they kind of keep you going in the quiet times. And it's just great to hear how other people work and different techniques. It's kind of like the classes that you don't have to pay for. So, yeah, it's really great the people that you've had on.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That means a lot. Thank you for that. Yeah, we were talking before we came on. It's I sort of discovered podcasts over the 2020 experience and stuff, and I'm sort of aware of them up until then. But then, as we were talking about those 1 walks a day we were allowed to go on and stuff, and like when you're at home, just think about what can I do to create this, particularly creatives like ourselves, how do we keep that bug alive somehow? And you find podcasts from the business, or maybe like I know a lot of people who like true crime stuff and everything. So yeah, no, but it's a good thing to have. And yeah, thank you for listening. Honestly, it means more than you know. So thank you.
No, no, it's a joy. Thanks.
No, seriously. So anyway, we start at the beginning. So in your case, Olivia, where did it come from? The love of acting?
Oh, um, well, my family I've been lucky enough to have a family who really see the value in creative endeavors and artistic things. I don't come from a family like none of them are actors or anything, but a sense of play and imaginative play was kind of nurtured in me and my brother and sister from a young age. And I think we always did silly, shows before bed and and things like that. And I think this is quite a common story for a lot of actors, but I've moved around a lot in my life and been to lots of different schools and things
Mhm.
and lived in different countries. And I think wherever I went, and kind of in spite of myself, I would find myself going to the drama class or the drama room or auditioning for the plays for after school. And I almost didn't want to. I was like, my friends weren't doing it. I was like, I don't know why I was so drawn to it, but it felt like a little bit of me and it felt like a little bit of home. And I just kind of loved being a clown and being silly and mainly dressing up as men and just like,
Ah,
um, yeah, just being as silly as possible. And that was the outlet for it. So, as time went by and I could study drama a bit at school and learn about forms of theatre or different plays, there was just a connection for me that felt like when you read a poem and you suddenly feel like you have an understanding and it feels like it's yours. I
mhm.
felt like that with plays. I felt like I'd been given this key to this like world that felt like I was on the outside of it, but actually I could get my own understanding of it. And that felt like a wonderful, secretive place that I enjoyed being in. And it felt like mine to also share in. So, yeah, kind of carried on from there, really.
Yeah. Was there one performance in particular that you remember seeing when you were younger, which really inspired you to make you think, yeah, I want to do this?
Well, actually, I remember it actually wasn't on stage, but I remember being taken to the cinema to see the uh, 12th Night with Imogen Stubbs, is it? Um, like a long time ago. I feel like Kenneth Branagh was in it or directed it or
Oh yes, yeah, he's
like the
done 12th
really,
Night.
really old one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And I remember her playing Viola and seeing her with her little like mustache and I was like, that is so fun. Look at her completely being somebody else and she's making me understand what she's saying in
Mm.
like way that I think you can just feel so isolated from with Shakespeare so often. You can be like, what on earth? How I don't enjoy this. There is no sense for me, especially as a young kid. And then I saw that performance and I was like, oh, I wanna have a go at that. So it was in the cinema, not in the theater, but yeah, I really remember being properly moved by it and loving it.
Mm, yeah, and we go back to as I mentioned in the intro, you went to drama studio as well, which was you did your MA there, and then off the back of your undergrad at UEA. So tell me about your time at UEA. What was it at Drama Centre? What was it like?
Oh, well, I mean, I had such a wonderful time studying drama at university, at the University of East Anglia. I honestly, like the 3 years there for me was just this brilliant kind of collaborative, uh, like it was like an exploration of theatre without the pressure of being in London and it being drama school. And
Mm,
I felt like uh, the forms of theatre that I was introduced to through the different teachers that I had there, there was much more time to kind of look into it and playwrights that I'd never heard of, like Katie Mitchell and things that we got to
mm,
explore. And I was like, and also this depth and wealth of British contemporary theatre that I hadn't known about coming from other countries. Uh, it just suddenly felt like, oh my gosh, there's so much to devour and enjoy. And so that was the place that really like solidified my wanting to just explore this further. But I didn't know how to get into the industry side of it at all. And you can feel very locked out from that side of things as well. So for me, drama studio was really having that 1 year like blast into what is equity or what is
hmm.
having spotlight and how do you stand on a mark and things like that for filming. That was kind of the really useful stuff for me at drama school, which I didn't know about at all. I didn't know about agents or showcases and things. So, but I'd say my kind of most creative time was probably at university,
Mm.
and then the kind of business side of things was at drama school.
Yeah, and it's I think you remember saying about was there one performance you gave? You did Romeo and Juliet at the Leicester Square Theatre, and off the back of that, you got your agent.
Yeah, yeah. At the time, the principal of my drama school, it was kind of amazing. This woman, Linny Riedman, was directing Romeo and Juliet, and she came to my drama school and said that she wanted to do it for the last term. And my principal let me out of the kind of final weeks of term because he was like, "You're not going to get a better training than doing a professional show," even though it was in the tiny, tiny basement. I don't know if you've seen anything.
Yeah,
Square theater in the basement. I don't know.
no, not yet. Anyway,
Oh my goodness, it is. It's like mainly a comedy space, I think,
okay.
um, and it's like so intimate. So doing, Juliet. I mean, I just remember having to hula hoop in her first scene. It was really, yeah, it was kind of set in a fascist regime, and just like the hula hoop, basically hitting the audience and then dying, like where they can really just see every breath when you're
Yeah,
lying there. Yeah, exactly. No, honestly, that was often the case. And
yeah.
like groups of school kids being like, "We can see you breathing." You're like,
You're
"Yes,
supposed to be
that's
dead.
true."
It's like
Yeah, exactly. Just
it's
open my eyes and look at them.
yeah, it's the theatre.
Yeah, exactly. And there was no like stage right exit, so you just like stood in a broom cupboard. It was it was really I mean it was really brilliant, and it kind of was great because it took the pressure off like showcase and things for me because I could then send out reviews to agents, and I got my first agent from that, so that was really lucky.
Brilliant. Yeah. I mean, I just hearing you talk about that, so we've all got to start somewhere, right? Like you've done these huge epic productions, and yet we all have to start somewhere. And if
Yeah,
it is stage right is a broom cupboard,
you got
but
to do it.
stage left goes to the dressing rooms. It's like, how
Yeah.
does that work? I've got
No,
to.
it's so crazy. And I actually think like one thing that I think it's kind of easy to gloss over is that even after that, and even after graduating, it was a couple of years before, I was lucky enough to work at the National. I mean, that's extraordinary, even that that happened so young for me. But I
Yeah.
had years like I was an usher at the Royal Court
Mhm.
for like maybe 3 years in between. And I remember just watching so many shows there because they're kind of 8-week runs there, and they've got the two spaces, and I found it wonderful. I thought it was a really inspiring and kind of motivating job to have, because you're watching these great performances night after night, but also the play's changing, so you're kind of not getting too bored of it, because like ushers, so much respect to them because they're kind of seeing it a lot. And that kept me hungry, but I also felt like I didn't know how you get to do it. I had an agent, but still, it was very much like commercials and things. And I
Mm.
knew that wasn't what I wanted to be doing. And I knew that's not why I started out. And it felt, you can have real lows in those periods where you're like, you leave, you think there's a springboard of finishing drama school, but actually, it wasn't until I went out and did classes at the Actors Centre in Covent Garden. And
Mhm.
I worked with the director who cast me in The Dark at the Top of the Stairs at the Belgrade Theatre in Coventry. That actually, that's when I got a new agent, and that's when everything changed for me. But I
Mm.
had to really kind of work and keep going to classes and try making connections. Yeah, nothing was easy or straightforward. It can sometimes seem like you do one thing and then you're immediately like at the National. And I just think, yeah, it's good to hear that it's, yeah, not always the case.
Absolutely, yeah. The people think, oh, you just. I think it was who said it? Vanessa Kirby, who plays Princess Margaret in The Crown, and she's gone on to do Mission Impossible and what big films she did recently? Napoleon with Joaquin Phoenix and all these guys and stuff. Ridley Scott, you know. I remember she did an interview a few years ago, and she said a casting director came up to her when she was doing The Crown, and she went, "I said, oh right, so you just kind of like popped up out of nowhere then." And then she goes, not quite. It's been a bit of a hard slog for about 15 years and had to get to this point. But yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing her actually in a play at the Royal Court in the upstairs space with her and like Phoebe Fox. And they were so funny. They were so brilliant. And they
Mm,
were shining even at that, age and stage. And I mean, that's the Royal Court, so that's also, she's super lucky to work there. But
yeah, very
yeah,
good there.
I think she's brilliant. And I think that's actually a really good point, because so often I got kind of newcomer, for so many years. And like you've just graduated and you've done this. And I'd really have to explain to people, no, there's a lot of slog, like Vanessa said, that comes before that. And even after it, yeah.
Yeah, it's people say that, oh, keep going and enjoy the grind and stuff like that. Yeah, of course, enjoy it as well. But it's not easy sometimes. But it takes one thing I've learned recently is that it takes a lot just to have that mentality, like and how mentally strong all of us are, like, not just actors but creators of all different talents, just to keep going and just enjoy where we are and just know that the hard work will eventually pay off more than anything else. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good thing to hear, I think. And I think also knowing that, you know, just doing those things to stay motivated in between so you can be ready when the opportunity comes. Because I think it's very easy to go like, oh, I didn't get that. So I'm just going to stop for a bit till the next opportunity comes and then be ready. But actually, it's all the stuff in between that kind of nourishes you
Mm.
and informs the choices you make for the next roles that you get.
Indeed, yeah, amen to that. So I just got just one more question before we get on drama school before we head into some of your work, specifically Desdemona at the National. But so, what would you say was the difference between yourself on day one of drama? I'm going to say center or studio. I keep getting it wrong.
Yeah, no, that confusion happens a lot. Drama
And
studio.
yeah, drama studio. Sadly, drama center is no longer with us. That's unfortunately been disbanded. But yeah, drama studio. So, what would you say the biggest difference between yourself on day one of drama studio to the last day, like graduation day?
Oh, that is a really good question. Uh, I think hmm, I think there was just like the understanding about the business side of things, that like you are a business in a sense. But I don't know, maybe I can answer even more from like university, because like
Yeah, yeah,
drama,
please.
yeah, I felt like because I was doing Romeo and Juliet, it kind of took off so much pressure about like the graduation and everything.
Mhm.
And I think when I started and I came over to England, because I was living in Belgium at the time, and went to university, I was just so shy and scared and just like, no, no, this is impossible. How do you do this? Exactly, totally like that. And that still like stays with me to this day. But I think that I just felt like I had been given, I'd really found that seed inside me, which is that like little fire that you don't want to extinguish, and you won't extinguish it, and you won't let anyone else extinguish it, because you're so
Mm.
passionate about this thing. And you're like, do you know what? Come hell or high water, I will continue in the endeavor of like working at this wonderful um, job or creative outlet, and I won't let anyone put that fire out. So I think that was it, kind of a kind of confidence in knowing that like this is my vocation in a way.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Just actually, I've just got one more question about drama school. Actually, you mentioned about loving being a clown earlier as well. Did you touch on clowning much when you were at Drama Centre?
No,
Oh,
we
Drama
really
Studio.
didn't. No, I know it's so confusing. I'm like, whichever one you want to think it is, I'll take
I'll
it.
just stick with drama school.
Yeah, yeah, drama school. No, and that's actually something that I found a real shame. I felt like there wasn't much time in a year. I don't know how you found this with your 1 year course,
Yeah,
but
it was really intense. Like literally, like I mean, I loved it. Don't get me wrong, but it was like like trying to squeeze as much of 3 years into 1 year is, it was huge. It was
yes,
huge.
and it's too much in a way, and you're kind of like touching on Chekhov or Shakespeare, and
Mm.
even those are kind of in the blink of an eye. And so, yeah, there's lots of things like clowning and stuff that we didn't get to do, but that I need to like come back to and remember that like actually that's kind of the essence of me. It's just being silly.
Yeah, yeah. Don't worry. There'll be other times, other opportunities to do all that stuff.
No, so no more crying and dying. That's the thing.
No, 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 no. Speaking of crying and dying, let's jump into let's jump
Yeah,
into let's jump into Desdemona, shall we?
yeah.
But
Right
yeah.
up.
So yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get to see. So actually, just a bit of background. So this was yourself, like I said in the intro, yourself, Rory Kinnear, Adrian Leicester, Jonathan Bailey, all in the 2013 production of Othello, which was on the Olivier stage at the National, directed by the former artistic director Nick Hytner. And I'll just say it now. Unfortunately, I didn't get a ticket to go and see it because it sold out pretty much like instantly, didn't it? It was like a hot ticket at the time. But I first saw it on a computer screen at the National Theatre Studio a few years after you did it, actually, because I'd read so much about it and watched bits and pieces, and I thought I've got to see this. And I watched the whole thing, and not only did 3 hours literally just go boom, just like that, so quickly. I don't know what it was like for you guys on stage, where it just felt like, oh shit, we're at this scene already. We only started 5 minutes ago, and but honestly, I want to get on record now. It was just stunning, absolutely stunning what all of you did, and your Desdemona was just heartbreakingly beautiful and delicate and emotional and sad. I think a lot of the time as well, because I think I'm doing a bit of research about her now. She's seen as like this symbol of someone who's so pure and so like, and she believes like she knows everything about me. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but like she feels like she's got it all sewn up. Like she knows everything about everyone. She's totally in love with Othello, and yet we sort of look at her, and even though in all her innocence and everything in between, there's a feeling of it's like, oh well, she doesn't have all the answers yet, and I don't think she does. Like she has, you and Amelia have this brilliant scene where you talk about how can men cheat on husbands? Well, they do. But how can they do that? Yeah, well, they do. It's what happens. And then there's a sense of like naivety about it and be like, oh, bless her, she hasn't grown up yet, or something like that. Someone could interpret it that way anyway. But before we get into that, what was it like doing that, being a part of that production?
Even hearing you describe it, it feels like a dream that didn't really happen. I honestly can't believe that I ever got to play her with those other actors. Like, it was the most extraordinary thing I think that will happen in my life, that Nick believed in like this completely unknown actor, and and took a punt on me, because I think because he had Adrian and Rory, it kind of, the tickets were already sold, right? So he and Nick is so wonderful at giving um, young kind of new actors a chance, and he did, and I will be forever grateful, because from day one, like, I got to work with Jeanette Nelson, who's the head of
Yeah.
voice at the National, even before rehearsals started, because my final round for the audition was going onto the Olivier stage, which I didn't know would happen. So I'd had like two before. I'd been with Wendy Spon, the casting director. Then the second audition was just with Nick, like at a big um, kind of table in one of the office rooms at the National, that lasted like a few minutes. And I thought, it's definitely over. Like, there's no way I'm doing this part. The third round was like meeting Adrian and doing a scene with him.
Wow.
And then they made me wait a little bit, and they're like, okay, we're gonna just follow us. And then they led me through a door onto the Olivier stage, and they're like, we're just gonna do the handkerchief scene. And I remember that like Nick was standing like at the back of the stalls, and Jeanette, head of voice, was kind of up in the circle.
Uh-huh.
And at that time, they really didn't mic any of the shows unless there was lots and lots of music in it. I think it's changed now at the National. I think they mic most shows, but they were just seeing if I could fill the space, I think, with my voice, and how it was with Adrian, and that experience in itself, I was like, if nothing else, I've got to stand here with this beautiful actor, like his dexterity with the language, his way of making you feel like you understand every word, the heart and soul that he pours into it.
Yeah.
It just felt like I was just with him in this moment as two people speaking to each other. And yes, it's the heightened language of Shakespeare, but I don't know, it just felt like we were completely just having a conversation. I think that's a testament to the play as well. I think it's one which is, quite easy to understand the plot. It's kind of this coil that unravels, isn't it? It's like the seed is planted by Iago, then we as the audience watch the unraveling, and the unraveling happens. Like everything he says that's going to happen happens, and you enjoy watching it as an audience member, I think, but you're also on the edge of your seat. If it's done well, I hope that you're going, oh no, maybe there's a chance that they will survive, and that someone will, they'll all be saved. But Nick just had such a clear vision, and the world that we were going to set it in. We had the model box on day one. He showed us, he had advisors from the army and from the military to tell us about this world. Lindsay, who played Amelia, Lindsay Marshall, didn't know until day one that she was going to also be in the army as well. So that was a whole new dimension for her, being like, what does that mean my role is? Why am I looking after Desdemona? That slight push-pull of having to look after the other woman who's in this very, very male camp. It helped it make a lot of sense. And the clarity of that vision meant that it was quite, not easy, but you could find your space in it, in that world, and have those conversations and start to really understand how we can make people really understand the plot and what is happening, and all of the language.
Yeah, I mean, you really did, because it was up to the first time I saw it, I wasn't really familiar with Othello. I knew like a couple of lines from it. I mean, all of Shakespeare's work, you have these like lines where you just go, "Holy shit!" I've talked about Shakespeare so much on here, and I'm going to keep talking about it because it's just brilliant. I remember one of the first lines was Iago's one, where he says, "Helen Knight must bring this monstrous birth to the world's light," and already you're thinking, holy shit, Hang on, what is this language? And then we get on to just and there's did you ever hear have you ever seen the History Boys at
Yeah,
all?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Did you see the original one at the I
Oh,
don't know with James
yeah.
Corden and people like that? Oh wow, you lucky thing.
I just
But
a recording though. I didn't get to see it live.
oh, the
Like,
recording. Oh, okay, okay, cool, cool, cool. But yeah, there's a moment where Hector, who was played by the late great Richard Griffiths, says, and of course I did the History Boys actually. We did a local production of it. It was one of my core soul memories, which will stay with me for a long time. And Hector has a line where he goes, "Wash me and steep down gulfs of liquid fire." And I thought, where's that? I thought, where's that come from? And I was watching sorry, spoiler alert, the thing at the end. I said 400-year-old text. We should be right.
you'll be okay.
Yeah, at the end where your demise and Othello's realizing what he's done in after killing you, and he says, "Wash me and steep down gulfs of liquid fire," and I was, oh my god, that was Shakespeare.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you can see
You
why it was so
I
beautiful.
can hear him. I can hear Adrian saying it,
Mm,
and yeah, these lines are extraordinary because yeah, it's one of those moments when you go in one line. It is the fullness of his experience, and we are with him so fully. And how did you find that beautiful image to completely depict exactly what he's going through?
yeah.
And also Othello and Iago are written quite differently in terms of the language that they use. And so it
Mm,
was just, I mean, such a gift to be in the room and see how Adrian and Rory approached both of the parts. And Adrian had been playing Othello in Red Velvet that Lolita, his wife, had directed in that
mhm.
very classical, traditional way. And so he had that kind of depth and breadth of like melodic skill with the language, but then seeing him kind of come into Nick's production and doing it, and seeing Rory, oh my goodness, I remember just watching Rory's soliloquies in the rehearsal room
Exceptional, exceptional. Yeah.
from day one, exceptional, and I he did it like at full pelt from day one.
Mm,
And I thought, you know, that was actually really amazing to see because I felt like he knew that to be able to convey the truth to the whole of the Olivier, unmiked, he needed in the rehearsal room to be from starting at that pitch and that level. I don't mean pitches in volume, but like bringing it already. Because if he took time to like internalize it and work out, you know, in his head what he meant, he'd never be able to convey that to this huge room.
yeah.
Actually, that was a really valuable lesson for me to go, do you know what? You need to come in and treat it like not that you're performing it straight away, like you have to get it all at performance level, but kind of meet the space and everything in your
Mm,
mind and the language like at that level in your mind. Yeah, they're extraordinary to watch together.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's obviously we'll come back to you. Sorry, I'm just geeking out over this production right now. But
Well done, seriously.
yeah, no, no, no. I will get to you, I promise. But just all these things just coming to my head. I never understood Iago's. There's one soliloquy he has, "Thus do I ever make my fool my purse," and I remember just reading that again and again and again. Of course, this was in the days where I didn't know anything about like the verse or the beats in the line or anything. Having been to drama school and done 12 weeks of it, and now I'm like, okay, right, and I understand how it works now. But I remember seeing Rory do that on the recording and just understanding everything he was saying. And I thought the way he did it, just I'm like, that's how you do it. Oh, that's what he's saying. And it's like, oh, just the way that he did that was just, yeah. Well,
Yeah,
but what a gift for yourself to be in a room with not only those two, but the whole group and Nick and this play as well. I mean, did you ever have like a pinch me moment where you think, oh my God, I'm actually here, I'm doing this.
oh, Oliver, the
Yeah.
whole time I was like, are you sure?
Yeah.
I think maybe I should be like out there. I don't think it should be me. Yeah, honestly, just, I mean, Nick had it all there and he just orchestrated it beautifully. And I think, I mean, I've never seen a production. I think it's a hard space to make shows work on the Olivier because often it can be such a chasm of space. It's like, how do
Huge.
we fill it? And I think sometimes too much can be thrown at it, or, you know, in some ways. But I think just the really clever design of those boxes, those kind of like trailer boxes coming out and the scenes, you know, the office scenes and things, and the scene around the toilets and everything happening in there, or like the kind of brawl of all the men and Cassio. It just made you these kind of laser focus points happening, and the music as well. I remember from beginning to end just feeling so tense because it's just unrelentless. It's relentless. I mean the production, but also the play, and you're like, it's going to happen. We're just building to the moment when, yeah, his plan comes into fruition and she is destroyed. And I think the thing that I really value and respect and appreciate about Nick Hytner is that he made Desdemona one of the equal pillars in the tragedy. He didn't just say, I mean, he was very clear with me that he didn't just want it to be Othello and Iago, and that's it, the kind of battle between them, and she's just a pawn in it. She needs a voice. She needs an attitude. We need to understand where she is coming from. She's not just a victim. And, you know, he was like, it's not going to be another production where she just takes it and is just, yes, she's blindsided by love in a way, but she also really has a lot of valid thoughts and feelings, and she's incredibly strong in the way that she decides to not follow her father's wishes and also tell her father plainly, like, I've fallen in love. And when she says, I saw Othello's visage in his mind, to me that was the key to unlocking her. It was a meeting of minds between these two people, regardless of the age gap between them. You know, they truly loved each other, and how someone can still plant that seed of doubt very, very easily, and then everything is gone. And I think, yeah, there's a naivety to her, of course, but also I think that can even happen in the strongest relationships, you know, just that outside ear. You're always slightly afraid that something will happen. How can you ever be completely certain and sure? Master manipulator.
Yeah, because I think the play as a whole, it demonstrates like the power of can't speak. It demonstrates the power of manipulation and not trusting your own judgment and instincts at the same time. And it's funny because Iago's threat, I think, and he goes specifically for Desdemona, I think, because like it's Othello's wife. It's like the light of his life. And she's painted. I remember your costumes actually were always like white, showing the brightness and therefore the purity and the innocence of it, you know. And for the costumes, like, you know, in these things really show like a character's kind of descent really and state of mind. And Emilia was dressed in like an army uniform, you know, it's got the army stuff and it's a little bit more darker, a little bit more tatty and stuff. And then she has a brilliant line where she says, I can't remember the lines like specifically, but talking about she would cheat, but not in the light, but I would do it in the dark, or that kind of thing, you know. And I think, yeah, Iago just has, and it's all because of an assumption as well.
Yeah.
There's no proof. There's no proof that he oh God, I'm going to remember the line now. I did a whole podcast episode on this once. He said, I know not if it be true, but I, for mere suspicion in that kind, will do as if for surety. So right from the word go, you're threatening to break up your best friend's marriage, ignore your own wife, get Desdemona in trouble, all because of something you assume happened.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, who the hell is this guy?
No, I know, absolutely. And I think I feel like I can remember there being discussions about also, you know, Rory having a discussion about Othello giving Cassio the role that Iago wanted, you know, kind of being usurped.
Yeah.
And so other unforgivable actions happening, and kind of within this army world as well, where like your rank and everything and your status, it's all tied up. That's everything to you. That's like that's your life, that's your lifeblood. And so yeah, the reasons are piling on and piling up, but it just seems so absurd from the outside, and yet it happens in life so easily, so quickly. Poison is dropped much easier than it's taken away. And
Yeah.
it was like, for me as well, playing Desdemona, I think I really had to try and figure out why she would, not hear or see certain things. I didn't just want it to be purely naivety, and also why she pushes Cassio's case so far.
Yeah.
What is the reason that she keeps coming back to him? And I think that not only did the world that Nick set it in within this military base where she only has Amelia as another woman to speak to, really, Bianca's not really in the scene for her to talk to.
Yeah.
That it's like she's trying to navigate her position in this man's world. She's trying to also assert a rank that she has, being Othello's wife, and everyone kind of looking down on her because she's younger and not listening to her. So the moment when she's kind of given something to do is when Cassio asks, when she says she'll help Cassio with his case. And that really is kind of the downfall for her. But speaking to like William Chubb, who played my father in it, we kind of had this backstory about she was going to study law, and then she married Othello and she didn't get to do it, but she has these qualities within her which are very much like, there's a case, I'm going to reason the case and I will win the case for you, Cassio. And also he's my husband, so like he needs to listen to me. I've never asked him for anything before. And actually I've made a lot of sacrifices by coming here and by marrying you. So do this one thing for me. And I think a lot of people go, why would you care so much for Cassio? But I think they're really good friends. And I think the way that Jonathan Bailey played the part was brilliant, because he has this ability to kind of be so people are really drawn to him. He's very magnetic as a person and as an actor, and I think he's so likable that you can understand why Desdemona goes, of course, Cassio, I'm going to do this for you. Like, there isn't a bad bone in your body. You're clearly trying your very, very best in a position that maybe you also weren't ready for. And their friendship spurs her on and to her own demise. But yeah, it's great to find those clues in the text too.
Yeah. And of course, Iago also says, there's another soliloquy he has. I think you guys did a little bit behind him. He takes her by the palm. Yeah. And then he's like, now he's getting all these ideas, and like his plan is just unfolding before his eyes, and of course he has another line, look to your wife, observe her well with Cassio. And I think it's a brilliant example of how people can just put a thought in people's heads. And I think Iago has another line he has a line about dropping poison into people's ear as well. I can't remember the exact wording, but but it's and of course there's the famous strawberry handkerchief as well, which is
what? Yeah, I know, mad.
Bizarrely brought in to Iago. I mean, the more you think about it, he's probably he's thinking, I've won the lottery with this. It's like I've put a prayer up and it's all just falling completely into my hands right now. You just think about Iago just being so lucky and stuff. But anyway, I'm talking about him too much.
I think, he's so fascinating. And I don't know if you've been watching any of Traitors, but I think it's so interesting to see how people can turn very easily, and they're looking for these clues which completely aren't there. And then you seem more guilty when you either defend yourself more or don't defend yourself enough. People always find that there's something, they'll see the wrong if they want to see it. And the ease with which Rory did that is something that I think was masterful, because he understood the text so well. He could make us understand it through not just the clarity with which he said it, but just the ease. He dropped the poison line, very easily into the conversation. So it doesn't feel pointed. It doesn't feel forced, I think, to Othello, where he goes, "What? This is strange. You're pushing this too much." It's just kind of friend to friend,
Yeah. And it's that, like you mentioned, the traitors as well. It's so funny how people hide in plain sight as well, more than anything, and he does that. And that the audience, it's almost like Richard III. The audience becomes like a confidant to him, or like like a not therapist, but like a conspirator as well. And there's one moment where, again, Rory, before the Divinity of Hell speech, Cassio just leaves the room and he goes, "Honest, Iago," and already you hear in the audience,
Yeah.
he's not, he's anything but. And then, but Rory just had, like, again, he commanded the audience with just one look as well. He just sees him walk out the door and just goes, "Okay, you're
Yeah.
mine again now." And it's like, oh, brilliant. Anyway, but back to yourself. So,
No, I'm like, let's talk about Rory, because also seeing him use each soliloquy as a building block with
yes,
the audience, I think he very much, it's the first time I really thought, oh wow, those moments are for having a relationship with the audience. And he's using them as a way to kind of build on what's going to happen, but also he's in conversation with them. Even though it's a soliloquy, I think with soliloquies, I think before then I very much saw them as like for yourself, and
yeah.
it's just a very internal thing. And then it was a complete revelation for me, because I was like, oh, it's not about you at all, it's about the conversation that you're having with the audience continuously, and they're the opportunity to do that. And yeah, sorry, just
Yeah, no, not at all. No, I think it's soliloquies in Shakespeare in general. Again, another one, Richard III, or in comedy like Benedict in Much Ado About Nothing. You know, you use the audience, and it's such a gift, soliloquies, because then it's almost like in Iago's case, anyway, he has a chance to actually say to the audience, "Okay, this is what I'm really doing. I'm done pretending for today. Oh God, get rid of that act for me today. Now, this is what I'm actually doing." And it comes from a place of truth, and it's evil, but it's truth.
yeah,
And you know, it's funny because people always say people who do bad things, even they think they're heroes in their own story, and but they don't know they're doing something so bad and so evil. But again, there's a discussion about power and the lust for it, and just the idea of getting someone back off
yeah,
the base of an assumption as
yeah,
well.
yeah,
The more you think about it, I'm like, dude,
yeah, I know.
what are you doing?
And I was always really moved by Amelia's revelation of that. I,
Mm,
I, I really, really loved watching the scene with the two of them in the bedroom, where she
mm,
realizes what he's using the
yeah,
handkerchief for, and the
yeah,
way that, like, I felt like there was this undercurrent of violence between them, where she was also kind of wanted his attention because what's happened to their relationship, so she's giving it to him, but at the same time he's really, really rough with her and quite terrifying, and just kind of trying to understand her place within that relationship and what she's willing to give, and then her own guilt and regret at doing that. um yeah, that was a beautiful scene to watch as well.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's crazy. So, who is Desdemona to you?
I think, I mean, one of the greatest revelations for me was kind of working on that unfulfilled lawyer aspect. I think that I just finding that line about it being Cassio's case and his suit, that
Yeah.
she would, um, I think she really cares and values people, and she's really loving and generous with her love to her
Hmm.
own detriment. But I think that she just was really excited to have a place and a space and a voice. And she'd come from a position of growing up in a world where, actually that used to be listened to. So why wouldn't it be listened to here? And that it's kind of her downfall at the same time. But I really just wanted to shine her strength through. I didn't want her to be walked all over. I felt really passionately about the death scene at the end being a, like,
Yeah.
for your life working with combat Kate. Was just brilliant, because it was like I didn't just want to be smothered, and that's how she goes. I thought, to the bitter end, she's got fight in her, and she's got life in her, and for that to be squashed by someone and someone else's poison will
Yeah.
not happen lightly. So yeah, I think I felt a lot of, I think at the end, I didn't feel, I didn't carry this weight with me at the end of the play of the pain of her death, because I really do feel like to the end she loved him. Even in those moments, those
Yeah.
very last moments, there was love there, and she was trying to understand what was happening. Felt like she saw that there was a change in him. I don't think it was just a light love between them. I think it was from a lot of conversations they fell in love. It wasn't just an attraction. And so I would come off stage at the end and I wouldn't feel the kind of weight that I did after other productions, like, for example, Cordelia. I would end that production with a lot of weight on my heart, and I'd find it
Yeah.
harder to shake, actually.
Yeah. That's a heartbreaker, that one. Yeah. But yeah, we'll come on to Cordelia in just a moment. But that final scene, I've got to talk about that because there's Othello's driven him. Iago's been successful, and he's driven Othello mad with jealousy and this assumption. Well, it's not an assumption. He believes that to be true as well. So there's like parallels between the two of them. They both think that their wives have been unfaithful to them, but they can't prove it. It's only because of word of mouth. And like I say, it's the power of, and it's the thoughts, manipulation, and how your mind can just contort anything to make you think a certain way. And how important it is to not just do something from a place of anger, or do something from a place of like, okay, I think this is true. Okay, I think this is true. I mean, and then you visualize it happening, and then oh yeah. But there's a big question about psychology in this play. I'd love to like delve into that. But so many things, so many avenues we can go down here. But that final scene is harrowing to watch, because you see someone. I mean, I know I was watching it from a recording point of view, but I thought all I wanted to do was just run in there and pull him off you and be like, you have no idea what you're about to do. And of course, what happens. Unfortunately, he does kill you, and he kills Desdemona. And yeah, what was it like to approach that scene every night and afternoon? And how did you look after yourself?
It was physically tough, because Adrian is a strong man, but he's like a black belt in karate or something.
No
So
way.
he's strong but delicate. He's also an amazing dancer. So
Really?
like, yeah, it's like no idea his talents. You're like, what is this?
Yeah.
Yeah, like proper kind of like hip hop dance there. He's awesome. And so he was very, very careful about the choreography, which really helped doing it kind of for 8 shows a week. And yeah, we had Combat Kate to like help us make it seem really real. And I think we both just wanted it to be, and Nick also really wanted it to be just a complete fight for your life. And I think that's where also like having a really good assistant director on board is great, because like when Nick wasn't watching through the run, Natasha Nixon, who was the assistant director, would come in and be like, I didn't feel like you were fighting for your life. Like, what is that? You just have to remember it. Those matinees when you're feeling a bit like, oh no.
2 show days, come on.
Exactly. So heavy, and actually, yeah, just coming back and attacking it with that same like, you know how like mothers move cars when they're babies, things like that. That power, that like animalistic power of like, there's a tiger in me and I will not die. And I hope that we showed it. And
Definitely.
yeah, it was. I remember my grandma. She came to see it, and she stood up, but she like was like, "Get away from her!" Like she couldn't help it. It was so sweet. Yeah, because she was just like, she couldn't bear to watch it. Yeah. It was,
Yeah.
but I love doing that. I really enjoyed that. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you pre-warn her beforehand?
No.
Okay.
Terrorized her at the time. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I learned that lesson the hard way as well. Like if you're in a play and something like serious happens to you, I've talked about. I was in a play at drama school called Widows. I've talked about it on here quite a bit, but I had a whole fight sequence. I had to get beaten up on stage. I was brought on with blood wounds. And at one point, someone had to grab my shoulder and push me to the floor, and I had to do my best stage scream as best I could. You know, like really up there. I don't know what note I hit, but it was like. And at the end, I got my throat cut in front of the whole. In front of everybody, and the stage, it was a comedy, it was nice, and you know, a stage manager did something brilliant. I'm not sure if you've ever had this, but in order to show, like, because when you cut someone's throat, there's like a blood spatter because you're cutting one of the major arteries or something like that, or I don't know, but so they got like this little bag where it's like they got some cling film and put some water in it. And then I had it sort of like secreted in my hand like that, and then when I just squeezed it, and all this water just went like all across there and everything. It was quite.
It's wow.
Yeah. So like any stage management people listening or watching, that's a good one for those kind of scenes. Yeah. And then then I, like I said, I didn't think it'd be a problem. So I went outside, and my mum came to see it. This is at GSA, and I said, "All right, hey mum, what do you think?" And she just turned to me and went, "I never want to see that happen to you again."
Like, she was just like, "I can't go through this." Yeah. You kind of forget, but when you're doing it, you're just loving it and enjoying it and kind of loving pretending all these things.
Yeah.
People who care about you see it and they're like, "I can't. It's too much."
Yeah, exactly. So whenever I'm in anything from now on and something happens to me or the character that I'm playing, I have to pre-warn my mother, because she was like, "Don't ever put me through something like that again." And I was like, "Yeah." What was your nan's reaction when you went up to her afterwards?
She was just like, "I was going to hit him." My mom restrained her at the time, which was there was definitely going to be like a handbag chucked at the stage at one point. Probably need a few like Iago and Othello.
Yeah. I mean,
It's like an amazing death for drama school as well. Like that sounds incredible.
Yeah, it was really cool. Yeah, I mean, it actually taught me a lesson about, because I did that selfish actor thing. I went through the script and I thought, I've only got 10 lines and the show's 3 hours long. But then I went, there are no small parts, only small actors. But you know, but that was great. And then I'd never done stage combat before as well, so that was pretty cool. And I thought, you know, there was one moment where I had to turn around and towards the back, and there's a guy called Ricky had like the butt of a stage gun and like went across my face, and he went like that, and then and the audience, we walked off, and it was so funny because like we did all this stuff, like he'd beat the shit out of me, and then we'd come off stage and go, "Shit, did we get a good reaction? Did we get a good reaction?"
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's so hard. Oh my goodness, I remember actually in Othello, Adrian had to slap me in front of everyone.
Yes.
Desdemona falls to the floor, and I stood slightly too close. And it's not his fault. It's not his fault, Oliver, but I got slapped. And it knocked me down, you know? And you could see, he was just like, "I'm so sorry." It was completely my fault, not Adrian. He's very, very careful and meticulously so. But I was like, I think my jaw is stuck. Like I felt like I had a line after that. And I was like, I don't know how to continue. But not that it's because you don't need to have it really happen, but it did slightly help me afterwards. I just remembered the sting of that in front of everyone.
Yeah.
So way around for it to happen, but I completely get the when it goes.
Live theatre.
Yeah, absolutely. There can be hand bruises. Yeah, no.
Yeah, absolutely. But how did you like make sure like you like, did you have a little like check in with yourself after that scene in particular, because you know, slight spoiler for that production, but you do get smothered to death, and then you just have to just lie there for like a good, it's about 15-20 minutes as well, like because they have to, because Emilia gets shot, they have to catch Rory, Othello has to say, "Wash me in steep down gulfs of liquid fire," do all this huge, beautiful, by the way, monologues where he's like, "Oh my God, what have I done? I've been tricked. I've just killed my innocent, pure wife." And then, but you have to lie there for a long time.
I know. The hardest bit is lying there. All these people doing this beautiful work. And I need to get more credit about that. It's terrible. I know. I was really, really mainly nervous for that, for the NT Live. Because I'd been on NT Live before. And I remember just like, honestly, like lying there desperately trying actually not to breathe. I was like, how do we? But then, of course, you've just had this huge fight and it's impossible. And but you just didn't want people on camera to see it, particularly because I
Yeah.
feel like there's enough distance on the Olivier that, hopefully. Um,
When you're in the audience, yeah, there's a distance. Yeah.
yeah, but what really helped actually was there's a great Alexander technique teacher there called Sue Laurie. I don't know if she's still working there, but
Mhm.
she just really helped me work on like doing all the work of like relaxing, neck free, and kind of saying no before you do anything. So I'd get
Mhm.
moments when, of course, you feel or your brain thinks you're going to have a tickle and you're going to cough. And it's just going to happen, and it starts to play out in your head as the run goes on. You're like, I am going to tickle, like I am going to get a cough, like this is terrible. So, just using her technique of saying like no first before you move, even kind of stop the thought that I'm going to cough, and found that in terms of relaxation and kind of going into like a meditative state where I could. But so many of the bodies are on you or around you that if someone else also falls or lies in a funny way,
Mm.
then you're all just like shaking with your body, trying not to move and
That's the last thing you want, isn't it?
yeah,
At the end of
awful.
Othello as well.
And when Othello dies and it's kind of slumped on top of her on the bed, and I can hear his breathing and the temptation to like say whisper to each something, to make the other one laugh. It's so naughty. It's so naughty, but it's just,
Oh, did you though?
I don't think we did. I feel like I remember the pillow once, like someone had put a toy soldier under the pillow once.
Hmm?
This is so naughty, like as a joke.
Oh no.
And you're like, we don't need this. We don't need this.
Yeah.
You have to die here. So
Yeah. I can
yeah.
imagine like in that moment as well, like you're there and and Adrian had to like stab himself, then sort of like slowly move down and then sort of lie next to you. And
Yeah.
then of course at the end of that play, then there's like this, then people are looking at I tell you what, just quickly, I was so on the edge of my seat and I was praying, I was like, catch Rory, catch him, because he shoots Emilia and screams abuse at her, saying, "You, thou dost lie, you lying." Yeah, it basically says, "You lying, you lie." Pulls out his gun, shoots her, and then runs away. I mean, if that's not an admission of guilt, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
But I was like, "Get him,
Get him now. Yeah,
get him, get him,"
absolutely.
and I was like, "Yeah,
Listening to that as well every night, that moment between them when when she
mm,
sees what happens in her, it starts to completely spiral for her. And then when he shoots her and also trying not to move for a gunshot happening,
yeah."
you're like,
Sorry.
ah, yeah, terrible. But powerful stuff that I still can close my eyes and hear. And I remember saying to Lindsay as well, how did she manage that like whale scream
Mm,
for 8 shows a week? And she did a lot of work with Jeanette on like kind of making it be like almost like a singing note. It never sounded like that, but how to kind of open her vocal cords so that it wasn't too constricted and that she'd cause any damage. So all of that technique was just a gift to have time to work with brilliant people like Jeanette Nelson, who could instruct us on how to survive as well.
yeah, and maybe wonder like what happens next to Iago. And I think Othello actually has a beautiful line where he says, "Thou shalt live. To die would be like." Again, I'm paraphrasing, but to die would be like a dream or like an easy escape for you. No, you will live
Yeah.
with this for the rest of your life, knowing what you've done. And again, all on the basis of something which he thought with a capital T was true.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I don't know about you, but I was left very much with the impression that Rory's Iago would feel nothing.
Mm,
Like even living with that, I don't really feel like he would, I don't know how deeply he would kind of care about the pain that he caused, more just about being right and winning.
yeah. There's a part of me which think, does, I don't know. Here's the thing, it leaves you with, you can argue it both ways, can't you? But
Right.
there's a part of me which does agree with you, of course, because Iago is a malignant narcissist, and he doesn't think about anyone else except himself. And but I don't know, there was something about Rory's look which made me think, is he thinking, hang on a minute, what what have I just done? But then again, he'll probably go, oh well, never mind, and just walk straight out the door.
There's something in there. Oh, I so wanted to have my eyes open at the end. I so wanted to watch what was happening because in rehearsals I just couldn't, and I didn't get to see that, but imagine.
Yeah, but then again, it's reinforced in his final words, like what you know. From this moment, I shall speak no more.
Yes, yes. And he still leaves you with that sense of like questioning yourself and what you saw as well, and going, wait, did I miss? Actually, was he right? And was there more between them? And did Amelia do that? And it's cool.
Yeah.
Women.
Yeah, it's so brilliant. It's a brilliant play. But that, I just want to quickly, that scene between you and Amelia, because I think a lot of people like use that scene for like duologues and stuff in drama school. I know two people who did that scene where you're talking about, I think Amelia has that funny line where she goes, I've known when people would have walked to Palestine for a touch of his nether lip and all that kind of thing. We talk about Rodrigo and stuff like that. And the whole audience just goes, there's like a murmur of people who know what that means, where they go, meh, and so other people go, wait, is that what? Well, what's that mean? Wait, that sounded dirty. And it's like,
yeah, absolutely. It was, you're right, yeah.
But yeah, that scene, why do you think that scene is so famous, do you think?
Oh my goodness. I feel like it's very, I mean, look, there are so few women in Shakespeare, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it's really hard to find scenes where they're talking at all, let alone talking to another woman. And I think, that's why I can imagine it's done for duologues so often, because it's like two women in the scene talking to
two women. Yes, Othello.
So we've got it. Like, it's rare. And I think there's a kind of, it's easy to fall into a kind of like laconic, like, hairbrushy scenario where they're just like, there's like the innocent Desdemona and the worldly Amelia, and let me tell you about things. But I respect Nick so much. I love that he had this idea that they're just like kicking back, having a beer together in a moment when like, of course they do have beers too, and like they can't really speak to the guys about it. And Desdemona, she's so lost, and maybe she's not turning to the right person. I mean, she's not turning to the right person, really, is she? Because Amelia has been complicit as well in parts of this happening. And I think that it's just that, like, her talking quite frankly about relationships and the world, and like telling her how it is, and in her clearly not very, her relationship isn't going that well. So she's coming from a place of pain and talking to Desdemona, who is in pain. And it's a very tragic scene, I think. And there's kind of like, there's understanding there, but there's also a real lack of understanding between these two women. And I like that about it. It's not a neat, like, comfortable moment where they go, oh, men. It's like, I'd really like an answer, And she doesn't have the answers for her. And there's a rub there. And I find that really interesting about it. Yeah,
and as I'm sort of looking it up, there's a lot of like debate amongst actors and even sort of academics. Really, they sort of show that in that moment, Desdemona kind of shows her naivety or lack of life experience in some ways. You mentioned the age gap between Othello and Desdemona as well. How she thinks about how can men cheat on their wives? Who would do that? Surely that doesn't happen very often, does it? And then the audience go, yeah, unfortunately it does. It's called life, and then these things that happen. But she has, and I think that sort of reinforces her innocence so much more and makes her like, oh, this is just a young girl talking to her mate who's probably had a bit more life experience than her. And and she's openly talking about cheating. And I think that's a reflection of her relationship with Iago as well, Amelia, their marriage, because you can tell it's just gone completely down the toilet. And Yeah, but whereas she's madly in love with Othello, and
Yeah.
like, and is that different? A strong marriage and relationship there, and a very weak one here. But she's going, this is what the world's like. Is it though? Yes. And it's
Juxtaposition of the two viewpoints. But I also think it's so, I don't know um, if you think this, but there is, of course, her naivety and her youth and her innocence, yes. But I think that it can be true at any age and stage in a relationship where something can happen and or you don't quite know the other person well enough yet.
yeah,
You could have had any amount of life experience, but still go, they wouldn't they wouldn't cheat, would they? Why would they cheat? Why would they behave like this? Or,
mm,
that's why you're talking to your friends about it, or, going to therapy about it and things like that, because
yeah,
it can really it's just a relationship thing. How well can you really ever know the other person? And yeah.
yeah. That's brilliant. That's those are the questions that it opens up as well, even like 400 years later, showing just brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, and we'd often have like academics come and talk, and I always found that really interesting as well because I love
Mm,
hearing all the different opinions, and that's why obviously we go and see so many different productions of these plays because
mm.
you're always coming at it from a different angle. You're always wanting to understand it a little bit more, and the kind of psychology. You can't fit all of those things, everyone's opinion into the productions, but I love hearing about them and understanding them.
Yeah, and the thing is, I don't know if you ever had this, but I remember going to doing drama school auditions, before, a few years ago after university, and there's so many times that they would say to me, "We get so many Shakespeare people come in, they do their Shakespeare monologue for their contemporary, and of course you do it your own way through your own life experiences, your own interpretation of the text. Of course, do it that way because that's the best way to do it. Don't copy anybody else." And there goes so many times. Do you know what? I've heard that Desdemona scene and Amelia scene so many times, and the way that actually monologue, isn't it? Like I've heard that like Lady Macbeth monologue so many times, and it's only now I'm like, oh yeah, I never thought about it that way before, And you hear something different each time, and then you're like, it still has so much, not just a lease of life, a world of life in it after all these years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
but
don't know
this,
about you, but that's why I'm drawn to seeing plays again and again as I
yeah,
change age as well, because I
mm,
think it's something that I very much see. Um, you know, my parents love Shakespeare too, and I've been lucky enough that they've taken me to plays from a young age where they can. But I
mm,
can see, like, particularly for my dad, that he'll come back to a play and really see it in a new light at the stage that he's at. And I find myself also feeling the same way now when, I could um, see a production of Othello now, and get something because of my life experience that's led me to that point that I didn't get before. I don't know if you have that as well, but
mm. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, there's actually that's a good segue, I think, into King Lear actually as well because I've mentioned this story before, but I'll bring it up. Why not? And there's fun enough, yeah, actually, it's a scene with Cordelia, who you played as well, and we'll get on to her in just a second. But there's a scene again towards the end where they're in a hospital, and Cordelia, comes to see, because you had the great Simon Russell Beale as well as your King Lear. I mean, talk about working with great actors, Olivia. My God, and yeah, there's a scene where he recognizes her and says, "I think." What does he say? "I think this woman to be my child,
yes, yes.
Cordelia." And there's been a gap of time where they haven't seen each other. I think, am I right thinking the last line he says to her before that scene is "Better thou not been born than been to please me, madam." Is that
Yeah,
right?
I think
Yes.
so. I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah. So the last time they spoke, he
Last time
says,
she saw him, yeah.
"Yeah, I wish you were never born. I wish you were never my daughter." And it's like, Jesus, okay. And then she comes back to see him. Did you see Anthony Hopkins' version, by the way?
Oh, I did. I did the in the film, you mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, 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 with Florence Pugh. Yeah, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Wow. I'd love to tackle King Lear one day, but that would be definitely a reference point for me because his descent into madness was just
Mm.
spine. It's giving me goosebumps even now. Spine chilling, just how good that was. And of course, Simon did a fantastic job as well. But that's anyway. To mention my mum again, actually, so my granddad passed a few years ago, and he was in a quite a similar, not a similar situation to King Lear, but sadly he had dementia and stuff. So he started to lose his mind, and mum had just come back from a tricky time, like to make sure he was okay and stuff. But she came down and sat, and my brother was watching it in the front room, and that scene came on. I said, "I think this lady to be my child, my daughter Cordelia." And my mum, she doesn't not into Shakespeare, doesn't really get it, doesn't really go and see it. But she watched that scene, and she just went completely to pieces. And she just thought, yeah, that's the power of these words can affect anybody.
And I think that's and also that kind of like that moment of whatever pain and hurt that you've caused each other when someone is we had it very like visually in a hospital bed and everything, but like being confronted by a parent, however awfully they've treated you, seeing them in their final hours or unwell,
Mm,
like they seem small and little and harmless in a way that all that power has been taken away, and they seem very childlike. And yeah, it's very
yeah,
desperately sad, isn't it?
yeah. Was that your feeling or your thought process when it came to that scene every night with Simon?
Yeah, I think it was really I was so lucky to get to play Desdemona and Cordelia kind
Was
of
that
back to back.
back to back? Yeah.
Yeah, because I felt like um I didn't just want to show the differences between them in terms of like I will be different now, but I felt like they're both coming from a root of love. Like I felt like Cordelia really did love her father desperately, even in this kind of quite tyrannical version that we had in terms of like, tell me publicly with your microphone in this like dictatorship
Yeah.
where women are rarely given a voice, how much you love me. And I think that Cordelia could see underneath it all the kind of the father there, the man that she loved. And I
Mm.
think that coming back and seeing him in this very, very fragile state after everything that had also happened to him and how people had abused that, I think, yeah, for me, it was grounded in like love and I think one of the most beautiful lines for me in any play that I've heard is when he says, "Why should a dog, a horse, a rat have life, and thou no breath at all?" when he's holding her at the end, and just that very real feeling of like this human that I made, like life has gone, but other things continue to live. Like these,
Mm.
rats are alive, but you're not. And I just, he did it so beautifully. And I felt like he kind of, his grade of the breakdown of him and his mental state, and he had a particular medical condition he looked into for it.
So Lewy body dementia or something, wasn't it? Yeah.
That was yeah, yeah, yeah. So he was able to kind of track it through the language quite well, and not just impose it onto the text, but track it through the text. And yeah, it was really heartbreaking. I thought,
Yeah.
and heartbreaking.
Yeah, yeah. Because I mean, and of course, right at the beginning as well. Actually, I want to ask you about this because it was directed by the brilliant Sam Mendes as well, and yeah, and just give credit. What was it like working with him?
Oh my goodness! So I was just still really like nervous and scared. I was like, what will this be like? And this kind of titan of another like titan of theater and film.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And he is just makes everyone feel so relaxed and comfortable.
yeah.
And I was like, wow, this feels like a really wonderful space to be in. And also his honesty about, I think that he really did know how he wanted to set it, but we spent quite a few days at the beginning trying. We took off our shoes, we sat in a circle, we had cushions, and you'd step into the circle and say your lines to each other. So you felt like you were just talking to each other. And then he'd build in a scenario, say, we're at a birthday party, or we're, for the opening scene. It was like, how do we tackle this? What world do we set it in? So you felt like he was figuring it out as you went along. But then he's such a kind of he's such a master, isn't he? Because actually he steered us all. He steered the ship very much to this world that
Yeah.
we felt like we had collaborated in creating. But I think that he obviously did and knew it would be like that. But yeah, you felt like you were involved in the decision of that, and it was very.
It's cool.
The feeling was quite like an ensemble, so that was nice too.
Yeah. Sounds very drama schooly.
It was. I wasn't. Yeah, I'd come from a very different rehearsal room, which was great. But Nick really had a clear vision, and it was like how we kind of work out that world. And then to Sam's room, which was like, take off your shoes, like let's all have a chat. Like, how do we find it? Very, yeah, a bit more drama school. And I'll never forget. This is the moment that I really felt like, oh wow, how someone's decision and the work that they've done prior to the rehearsal room, can inform the character completely. But it's so great to come in like wrong and strong, or just like strong with an idea and offer it, make offerings. Because Tom Brooke, who played Edgar, came into the first scene, and I can't remember what he says. It's like, what now, brother, or how now, brother, or something. And he came in, he was carrying 2 brandy glasses. And he seemed very like laid back, like he might have just smoked something. and he was there. Like the relationship between Edgar and Edmund was there. Like Edmund was like very tight, and like his desk was there with his papers and his work. And Edgar kind of like strolls in and knows that about him, and just in a line, it informed everything. And genius actors in these rooms. It's just wild.
God, I'm so jealous of you right now. So
jealous. It's extraordinary.
Yeah,
it sounds really nice, and really good person to be around.
Like he's a master. He's a master at what he does. But that first scene in particular, because Cordelia has, I mean, the guts she has in that moment when she says, it's like, it goes the first 2, they go, oh, I love you so much, Dad. Please give me lots of money. Please give me lots of money. Please give me this estate. Okay, great. Now Cordelia goes, what do you have? Again, I don't know what the line is, but what do you say now? Well, what do you say? Nothing. Well, nothing will come of nothing. And she has like the balls to say, I'm not doing that. I'm saying what I think. And I think you gave while you were there, you did like a video sort of interview to the National. I think you were talking about how you think Cordelia was raised by Kent a lot more, inspired by Kent a lot of the time, because Kent actually says when he divides the kingdom into 3, he said, look, thou dost evil. It's like he's dividing the kingdom between 2 men who he knows don't like each other. And so Kent's got like the know-how and the vision, and he sees things. And I think you said that she was more driven by Kent's views in some ways. Am I be right there?
Gosh, that's terrible that I've forgotten that. But actually, you saying that's ringing a distant bell, and I feel like isn't that just the joy of working on Shakespeare as well, that you can find these things that are a clue that you could be like, possibly the relationship with Kent is there, and let's build this backstory around it that might bring in this interesting angle to the production. And I think, I remember at the time we were talking about what presence did Lear have within these women's lives? What kind of father was he? And it didn't feel like there really was a closeness. And it felt like we should be seen and not heard, or not seen and not heard. And so even being brought forth to speak in this public arena was so beyond rare. And the brilliant Stanley, who played Kent, I remember us having conversations about exactly that, where we were working out why later on she kind of comes to him and he helps her. And that he's been the kind of guiding light in her life. And that I think that they can see that something is happening to Lear. I think even before the scene, I think there's been a kind of rumbling of like a different kind of behavior. And even this like rallying everyone together, and this kind of like selling her off to, a different king, to just like go so publicly and stand on this chair and be humiliated. It's like, this is not you. This is not who you are. And Kent is the person to kind of see that really, and also show Cordelia that too, I think.
Mhm.
And yeah, so it was a gift. It was a gift to get to explore with those
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about that there now, when he says, better thou's not been born than to have pleased me, madam. Or do you think Cordelia ever forgives him for saying that?
Yes.
She does.
Yeah, I mean, personally, in my playing of her,
Mm.
I had, I felt like I had to see that there was something else going on. There's a change in him. And this is like, as cruel as that was to hear, as awful, she comes back, you know, she comes back to find him. And I think that if there was no forgiveness there, she wouldn't put herself through it. And she, I love that Sam made her a fighter too,
Yeah.
coming back with this gun and standing there and being like, I'm strong. Yes, she put her, cojones on the table and said like nothing, and I will not stand for this. And I see you. And I think he knows that. She sees him very clearly. Um, what game he's playing, what he's trying to do between the sisters, the division he will cause, and she's trying to cut through all of that noise and the illness that is taking over and go, I am here, it's okay. And that strength carries her forward. But yeah, I really do feel like there's a level of forgiveness there. And that's why I think also when, they're tied up and they're about to be taken away and killed,
Mm.
when she's killed, that she's weeping with him because the words that he's saying are just like they're heartbreaking and they're father to daughter in the final moments of life. And
Yeah.
yeah, sing like two birds in a cage. That section is so powerful. And
Yeah. Yeah.
without forgiveness, it's like where is there to go?
Yeah. It's like we'll go away to prison as well. We'll spend our days in prison. And I think Simon actually did a platform talk at the National. I think it's still available on their podcast channel. And he said, when I say to Cordelia, let's go away to prison, and I can imagine Cordelia going, God, I couldn't think of anything worse.
I want to be trapped in a room with you. Yeah, because he's like, and we'll talk and sing of old times, and
yeah, while we wait to be killed.
always be killed like that. And actually,
Yeah.
he isn't. She is. And we had some really horrible discussions about that. Yeah, about her death as well,
Oh yeah.
and that kind of how she was killed and what happened, and the suggestions of what happened before she was killed, and the real abuse. So what he sees is not only just this dead body, but there was a lot of blood, and her trousers were open, and things like that. So it was like a real
Mm.
level of like, there was also this implication of torture prior to the death. And yeah,
Jesus.
which wasn't just to add in. I hope it doesn't come across like just adding it in for the sake of it, but it
No,
was
no, 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 no.
even the like context of the world that they were in. And yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's it's such a powerful play, and I'm sure this will definitely not be the last time I talk about this on this channel, but yeah. But I suppose like at the end of that, especially you mentioned earlier that after Desdemona, it was like, okay, cool, right, we're good. But after this, you were like, Jesus. I mean, how did you look after yourself during that?
Oh my goodness. I really struggled with this one. I carried the weight of it. And also because of her like 2 hours off stage in the middle of the play, she hasn't
Yeah,
got a lot of time, Cordy.
yeah, you had a big chunk. Yeah,
Yeah, and she gets like intro defiance, like, no, nothing.
and disappears.
Yeah, it leaves, gets married off, disappears, comes back with a gun, and then and that was quite an isolating experience, I found. I'd be interested to hear from like other people who play Cordelia, but
Mm.
um, you're in a very different world to the other characters. And so even off stage, I felt myself like quite removed and remote and isolated. And it's something that it's not a good thing to kind of hold on to. And I remember hearing about someone suggested that I listen to Mark Rylance talk about how he kind of gets rid of the character at the end and doesn't carry it with him and has a little ritual in a way,
Mm.
and remove it helped me actually having a wig for that play, because I was like, I can take it off, I can just like wash it away, wash all the blood away, have a bit of a like ritual cleanse, and then
Mm.
yeah. So it was a different one. I felt the pain of the play and what she'd been through much more than I did Othello. I felt like she kind of believed him to the end, believed in this love to the end. And I think Cordelia actually saw through all of that and saw through people and saw what they were capable of.
Yeah, it's the power of going against the narrative as well. I mean, the power of having your own opinion, and sadly, she gets kind of, well, she gets killed for it, and it says a lot about where we are now, really, with opinions and stuff. Even 400 years later, you're still getting abused or murdered just for having an opinion. Look at what's happened over the last few months. All that kind of stuff. It's crazy. But
Absolutely. And that was the benefit, I think, of having it set in the way that Sam decided to set it ultimately, because we tried lots of different configurations in terms of like, is this an intimate family gathering? Is this, the women are not allowed to, behind screens? Like, how far do we push this? But I think this kind of public broadcast feeling is very much in the world that you're speaking of, which is like people will see this, they will respond on
mm,
a kind of global platform. And what is it to have a voice, and what repercussions does that have?
yeah, and it's incredibly political as well. I mean, one thing that I remember Simon as well talking about in that platform talk was right at the top. He goes, "What the hell is that first scene about?
Yeah.
What's
It's
the,
nice
what?"
to hear someone say it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, what's it about? What's he doing? What's he doing? And then right from the off, actually, you see someone who's, and again, Simon said this as well, that clearly there's someone who's been in power for far too long, and their mind's disappearing and they're not making sense anymore. Like Kent said, "Thou dost evil." Well, he's saying as well, you could say that he's going, like, you have no idea what you're doing. You need to give this to someone who's frankly younger, better of mind, and someone who isn't going mad.
And who
Yeah,
wants to hear that when they're like the king? It's,
exactly. They were
then
like,
he goes, yes, you're right. Actually, I think I should. Like, it's
spot
like,
on, chap, spot on. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. Said nobody ever, but it's
Why he
like,
calls on them to say how much they love him in the first place. It's all this kind of ego.
mm,
Um,
stroking the ego and stuff. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Um,
And if you're in that place, think, I don't. Do you know how long I've done this? Do you know how long I've got more experience than you? You have no idea what you're talking about. And it's the danger of ego as well,
absolutely.
and God, so many layers to this guy's stuff, man. It's crazy. Yeah,
And I know yeah, it's endlessly brilliant, isn't it?
yeah, indeed. Yeah. I hope your nan didn't come see Cordelia as well. Or did
Come
she?
and see that. No, I think she was. I think we were like, I think that's. I
I
think
think.
that's enough. But she was like, I don't need to see you die again.
No, 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 no.
Yeah.
This one's like, I mean, Desdemona's death was bad enough, but Cordelia, I mean, that's a whole different kettle of fish.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And also like Simon, bless him, like he's not the tallest man, and we were like the same height, and having to carry me from the back of the Olivier.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, every night I was like, how do you make yourself lighter? Like,
Yeah. I always get an image of like you guys like afterwards, like you finish the show, the lights go down, you go up, you do your bows, your curtain calls, and you go off into the wings back to the dressing room. I could just see Simon just running after you, going, "Olivia, Olivia." You're like, "What?" And he just gives you a massive
yeah,
hug.
it was so nice. Our dressing rooms were next to each other, and
Oh,
so
nice.
the kind of he's so lovely and warm, and he'd always have his door open, so like anyone would be like, you're welcome to go in and just have a little check in, and yeah, he's a kind, generous person. I do
Oh,
remember though, talking of like the deaths that we were speaking about for Othello. Do remember, because that's another pile up of bodies and lying there
yeah.
for a long, long time. And I remember somebody, I can't remember who it was, but somebody had died at the end, and they just turned over and coughed and then turned back. And I was like, do you know what? I respect that. I respect it. You're not really dead. You need to cough. Yeah, it was
Yeah, and it's almost like these productions bring a new audience to Shakespeare because people like it's going to keep reaching new audiences with every decade and stuff. And I think again, Simon said something in his platform talk where he said that attack on it's not on Cordelia. I mean, there's an attack on Goneril or Regan at some point. Is
yeah.
there? Is
I
there?
think I'm
Oh,
gonna, yes.
on Goneril. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's an attack on Goneril at one point. I can't remember what it was for. I need to go back and read the play, but apparently someone overheard at the in amongst it was like a party afterwards or in the theatre foyer afterwards. Everyone's like, "Reverend, what did you think?" You know, apparently he heard someone. Was it a text? Anyway, he heard someone say, "Look, God, that attack on Goneril was bang out of order."
No, yeah,
Yeah,
that's amazing.
and it's like that's a very 21st century way of doing it, isn't
Yeah,
it?
absolutely. And really cool to hear as well, isn't it? Like you can
Yeah.
understand it now and be like, where did that come from? What are you doing?
Yeah, and the dynamic between the two sisters as well. I mean, they've inherited the ego as well, and just the way that Regan and Goneril just have this like battle in amongst themselves is just oh
Yeah, very so well played by Kate Fleetwood and Anna Maxwell Martin.
yes,
Honestly,
yes.
and like, um, and I remember Kate working with Jeanette on the way that Goneril speaks, being like a coil, like a tight coil,
Mm.
in the language, in the phrasing of each line, and I just love that kind of clue hunting for characteristics and ways in to how to portray these people. And yeah, that was really interesting to watch and see unfold.
Yeah. Oh, it's beautiful, beautifully done, beautiful cast in both productions as well. Just everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and I honestly like also I have to just I mean one of the most unforgettable moments from that production as well is when poor Sam Troughton lost his voice during
Mm.
a performance in the dress rehearsal in the no in tech
Mm.
or preview, sorry, and Papa Essiedu was understudying him,
Mm.
and it got to the interval, and I remember Sam coming to the dressing rooms and talking to Papa and going, "You're gonna have to go on."
Mm.
But they haven't even started understudy rehearsals yet, which is,
No.
obviously where you have the time to like stand up and do the movements and everything. And Papa had been watching so carefully in rehearsals. He said to Sam at the interval, "I think I can do it." And he
Wow.
went on for the second half onto the Olivia stage and smashed it as Edmund. Like, honestly, I've never seen anyone just be like, "Yep," and just went for it. I was just, it gives me goosebumps to think about it. Just said, like, "Yes, I can," and did. And, like,
Wow.
obviously, we've seen what an extraordinary
He's incredible. He's incredible.
yeah.
Yeah. Papa, yeah. He's I think he's doing All My Sons next, I think.
Well,
Is he?
listen,
I think so. Yeah.
yeah,
Hopefully I've not got that mixed up, but yeah, I think
playing
so.
Snape, I think.
Hey?
He's playing Snape in the
Oh, is he? Oh, okay.
series. Yeah.
Oh no, I'm thinking of somebody else. Oh God, I'm so sorry. I got them two of them mixed
No,
up.
no, gosh, not at all. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh God. No, sorry guys, got you mixed up there. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, but that's something.
Yeah, it was
That's
something
something.
pretty
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah, yeah. And you see that in someone where you go like, "Oh wow, okay, we've seen how brilliant you are," and
Yeah.
seen it since.
Amazing, amazing. I mean, that's a whole podcast episode in of itself. But anyway,
Yeah.
let's see how much time we got. Okay, unfortunately, we're a bit pushed for time because I know you've got to shoot off in a bit, Olivia. But wow, just thank you so much for your time today, and just to tell your stories about both those characters and just the experience that you had and everything. It's been a real joy, real pleasure to hear all about it. And yeah, just thank you so much for your time. I've just got two quick questions left for you. Last two questions for every guest. So first of all, what would you say was a bit of advice you wish you heard when you were starting out?
Oh, I think it would have to be something to do with. It might be advice that I give to myself, even, that I wish I could have listened to more, which is don't forget the clown.
Don't forget the clown.
Forget the clown, because I feel like that kind of silliness and enjoyment of play is something that I began, that's what made me fall in love with doing it in the first place. And I think sometimes you can get too serious about it. You can be, especially with drama school, it's like, what agent are you getting? What are you doing next? What's happening? Da, da, da. But actually, it all comes from play and the enjoyment of that. And I think just like I just have to remind myself all the time, it's just about like the ensemble that you're working with, and the team with you and around you. And that's the stuff to hold on to as well. The focus isn't just like the like I, me, my journey. It's like,
Mm.
what are we all doing together? What are we shaping? What ideas do we all have? That's the exciting stuff for me. Like, I don't know. I think I'd go back and be like, just listen to that voice and yeah,
Yeah.
continue.
Yeah, just listen to your instincts with anything. Yeah, absolutely. And finally today, and I think you probably answered this already actually, but what would you say has been an experience or experiences you've had in your career up to now that you'll never ever forget?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's going to be
Yeah.
getting the part and going on the Olivier stage. I think I also have to say I've been so lucky, but just to say, not to say like all of them, because I just feel like some of them are just so extraordinary that um, getting to play, getting to work with Nick again on a new Tom Stoppard play, The Hard Problem.
Mm.
That was like flying, like his language, this kind of the appeal that we find in like Shakespeare and things. Getting to play Hilary was like it was like flying, and I kind of got to develop that relationship with Nick, which was really great. And I do have something. Oh no, oh gosh, it's terrible. I don't mean to say so many and sound like this, but
No, not at all.
we did like three Chekhovs in a
Yeah,
day,
the trilogy. Yeah, yeah,
the trilogy. And so there were just two of us who were in all three. And when you'd get to the end of the Seagull after doing, the other shows
yeah,
and like kind of surviving, but also doing it with the audience and that sense of like we've been in something together. And like it was on the like when we brought it to the National after Chichester and it being on the Olivier stage again, which felt like a kind of, I don't know, just a very special place for me because of the previous experiences I'd had there. And so doing this like, you know, 8, 9, 10 hours of acting on that stage in a day and being like, we survived. I'm not dead and you're here and we did it. And we did 3 plays and that was just amazing. I will
wow.
never, ever. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Like the kind of rep theatre that you hear about from days of old that we never get to experience.
yeah, yeah.
The closest I have ever come to it. And that I love.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how long was the run in Chichester?
Chichester, we did, I think it was maybe 7 weeks. And then at the National, we were in rep. So we did it for 6 months, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, it was amazing.
I mean, by the end of that run, you'd be like, if I see another Chekhov text, I'm going to scream.
I'll tell you, the crazy thing is I just wanted more. I know that sounds wild, but
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
I just fell in love with it so much. And
Oh, of course.
yeah, yeah, I did. It's silly. And then there's just one other, sorry, not to go on loads,
No, no,
but
no, please, please.
just because I think I can sense that you love Shakespeare and I do too. And I did As You Like It at Regent's Park.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And in Rosalind's epilogue, there was a moment when I hadn't done a show outside before, but then she's talking about magic, and it was summer, and the sun had gone down, and there was like the wind like went through the trees outside. And it
Mm.
was like she was like, I conjure you, and it felt like it was happening. And there's just something about that I love about theatre. It's just this communication between audience, other actors, and it feels like, not to sound
Magic.
cheesy, but it feels like magic. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's something magic about it.
Incredible. Yeah. I mean, there's a just before we finish, I heard a story at the Globe once, and this is I did a stewarding role there the summer before the lockdown and stuff, and it was just it's amazing. Seeing Shakespeare there for free, like 3 or 4 times a week. I mean, I wasn't paid, but hey, it was worth it. And I remember there was one time I said like, well, what's been like some crazy like shows that you've seen? And then I remember one lady saying to me, there was a performance of Romeo and Juliet. It was a matinee performance, and of course, it happens at the end. They have that epilogue at the end, whereas for never was there a story of more woe than this of Juliet and her Romeo. And then, as soon as the actor finished saying that line, Big Ben just told,
Oh wow.
yeah, like, on the Romeo, bang.
Amazing.
It's like, holy shit. Okay.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, and then the actors after that were like, quick, you need to time that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, the timing you did there, do
Yeah,
that again.
every
Every
day
single
like
night.
that. Oh, that's very cool. Wow, wow.
Very cool indeed. Yeah. There's probably more stories, but I need to do some more digging. But for sure, yeah. But anyway, Olivia, thank you so much. This has been so much fun to hear about this. I mean, I'd love to have you back. I'd love to hear more about the Chekhov stuff as well, because I found like a new appreciation for Chekhov. I know I said just now you're like, oh, Chekhov, get away from me. But actually, once you read Chekhov and you realize this stuff is funny,
Yeah.
it's like Shakespeare. It's about life and reality and tragic comedy and the light and the darkness and everything. But yeah, I'd love to hear more about that next time you come on and everything. So yeah, let's do this again sometime. Yeah, this would be great.
Thanks, Oliver. Thanks for all your great questions and just for doing the podcast, because I think it's really interesting. I really love listening to your other interviews. You have a really great skill and a way with people. So thank you.
Oh, well, you're too kind. Thank you very much. That means a lot. Thank you. Cool. If you just hang on, I'll finish the recording. We'll have a tiny debrief and you can shoot off. So, wow. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you, Olivia. Guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. This has been the Uncensored Critic podcast, and I'll be back very, very soon. And yeah, Olivia, thank you so much.
Thanks, Oliver.